mostly in the households, institutions, some of the hotels for making hot water. And this system is using the sunlight to boil this water. We have some collectors here which absorb the light intensity and then they form heat when they just concentrate this intensity, which of course was cold water which comes from the tank. And this one, this pipe gets water into this collector chamber, and then when they get heat, they have into a proper direction of sun. Then all of the light intensity concentrate at its focal point. So when you keep your pot there, then you can boil your water or you can cook your food.
And you rotate it following the direction of the...
You can rotate this according to the direction of the sun. So it's got some wheels there whereby you can easily rotate it. But you have to use it in direct sunlight. So when you cook, you are also exposing to the sunlight.
Yeah, for those who were in the same group, we also said that the first thing is expensive for most of the people to be able to afford it, and the second thing, in the village, people are in the farms during the daytime, so they find it difficult to use this during the... They are not there during the sun.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Yeah.
We are still creating awareness on 1,000 shillings to 300,000 shillings. So for the most of the villagers, they see
Yeah.
like expensive. Like this one, so to rotate the cooker, then this one is kept free. So as you can set it according to the direction of the sun. Yeah. So all of the light intensity and the heat are concentrated at that point, as you can see also in this picture.
And who are the targeted users for these two?
For these two are the local people and the community as well.
Community?
Yeah, community as well.
So you would have one per village?
Yeah, privilege is for these institutions.
Institutions?
Like schools,
okay,
or in health centers, because they use this.
Yeah.
Because this one in boiling of water, it's faster, of course.
How long does it take to boil water in this?
For water for this kind of pot, almost it takes less than 30 minutes.
How long? Less than 50 minutes.
30 minutes.
Drinking
Yeah.
water direct from the tap.
Parabolic, so. Season, most of the fruits and the vegetables, they come destroyed.
We harvest a lot and
yeah,
we don't.
we harvest a lot, and the demand is not fulfilling the harvesting. So we promote this technology for post-processing of that fruits or vegetables, in
Like
order to preserve them
in
and to increase the nutrients in that solid dried product. So we have involved in trainings on how to construct this one to the local people and to the groups, and also in food processing itself, utilization of these dryers. So we still emphasize the villagers or the places where they have got a lot of fruits or vegetables to dry by using this one. Yeah. This technology consists of this chamber, which has been enclosed with this is known as viscous sheet. This viscous sheet is a special material which can can filter ultraviolet light from the sun, so as to keep the food which is dried here safe and retain their nutrients. So we promote this for the local farmers or the food processors, so as to increase their income by selling that. This one can charge not less than 10 mobile phones at a time. So according to the area and the availability of the business, then the entrepreneur can earn money according to the set price which he or she can set.
How much power does this generate? Like, what else can you put on this?
Okay. This unit we have got here has got 2 panels of 14 watts peak each.
Okay.
So total here is 28 watts peak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
28 watts.
But according to the demand and the availability, yeah, for this one unit, it costs around 605 Tanzanian shillings. 650,000 Tanzanian shillings.
But I mean,
For the whole, it costs some places which we have witnessed. It costs 500,000, 500 shillings.
500 shillings.
Yeah.
Charge your phone.
To charge your phone.
Yeah.
500.
So you have to wait for
like
2
$50
hours for your thing to be fully charged.
Yeah.
And then you
So
sell
there's
it.
a limit there for in terms of the time.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
And then you open a cappuccino shop right
So
next door. So
for the whole day, the entrepreneur can charge you almost more than 30 or
Is that
40
the
mobile phones.
is it the unique user? Is somebody who's trying to sell battery storage? Sorry, phone charging. Is that typically your entrepreneur is looking to sell his power essentially?
Yeah.
Are there also individuals that might or schools that might buy this as well to charge or no?
We
but
don't
then they have
limit.
to pay.
We
Yeah.
don't limit it for any entrepreneur who wants to own this and make business. Then we can sell it to him. Because our goal is to see most of the people they got this technology, and for the entrepreneurs they earning some money for.
Right.
and you say it's 50 shillings to charge your phone.
500.
In the residential or in institution. So we are doing this planning, design, and the installation, and also maintenance of the solar systems in the residential house or in the institution. So there at our office or at this center, we receive a lot of requests which wants to install into their houses these solar PV systems.
Where are
So
they
we-
manufactured, those solar panels? Are they here in Tanzania? The solar panels?
yeah.
Or where do you get them from?
We get them from abroad, of course.
From abroad?
Yeah, most of them are coming from.
Type of equipment depend on services which is required in a particular society. So it is not uniform. Sometimes you find in other villages they don't have maize mill, they have another type of machine depending on their needs. And here we have the machine where you can press these seeds. And once you have oil from these seeds,
They are called jet
as you
fuel.
see, jet oil. Yeah, so you can make biodiesel or you can use it straight to the
Oh, wow.
engine.
It's neat.
Yeah.
That is so neat.
Yeah. And this is actually for the areas which are not connected to grid.
You produce the biodiesel here and you use it to process there.
Actually, there is another processor
Oh, there is,
in the
yeah.
house for biodiesel, but you have to press first from the
Yeah.
transmission. Okay. You press.
But you can be
filter.
self-sufficient, you don't have to go.
Yeah, you don't have to buy diesel. You don't have
That's
to
our
buy.
aim.
Just for seeds. They are poisonous. Don't test.
People in Tanzania depend on biomass, and about 71% of people in urban areas use charcoal for household cooking. So, and this charcoal is produced from natural forest in the rural area, and normally The charcoal producers use the traditional kilns. This one, the model here, they just cut the tree, pile up the logs, and then they cover with the mud, and then they put holes everywhere around the kiln, and then to allow air to come out. And then normally it takes about 8 to 15 days to carbonize the whole thing. And the efficiency of this kiln is very low, about 10 to 15%. Sometimes it goes up to 20, but it depends really how the logs are arranged inside, and the type of wood they use. Yeah, so these are the very common type of kiln. What TaTEDO do now, try to improve their kilns, at least to increase the efficiency and to reduce wastage of logs. Yeah? And we innovate a little bit coming to this model here.
Is there any special wood they use, or is it just any wood that they can find close by?
Yes, any wood.
Sometimes any wood, but for the people who are trained, they really do selective harvesting. And there is these trees of high value they don't use for charcoal. Yeah. What we did is just to improve how the logs inside are arranged. So the logs are arranged more tight. And also
feeding stock of this food waste from household, from hotel, or from institutions. And you see here some of the feed stock that we are using for feeding our digester. This is Irish peels and bananas. So here is a mixing chamber, or the feeding place where we feed this material. And this is digestion place where it's taking place. And here is where gas is stored. So after fermentation, we get gas, and the gas is stored here. And this is the gas valve where gas is collected, and then you go to the stove. I think you'll see the stove there. And here the part for outflow. When we feed more feedstock, sometimes the feedstock that already fermented will go out, and they will pass through this. And this is a good manure for Also, we call culture starter. When we introduce another plants in order to reduce the retention time, I mean that to get to release faster, we can use this one instead of using fresh water. So can reduce maybe from 40 days of retention time can be up to 20 or 25. We have, and this bottle here for water trap. You know, sometimes the humidity is produced here, they produce some amount of water. So if we don't trap water, water will remain in this side here, and then it will block the system. So instead of getting gas in the stoves or other plants, you will get water. And our aim is not to get water, they will need gas. So that we're collecting amount of water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you have any question from these plants before we went to another?
Impressive, and I was impressed along the way where the people that were at each booth were really educated. They knew what they were talking about, and they seemed to understand their audience and could communicate what the benefits were to their audience. And I like how it was also, you had it posted what the economics are and what the efficiencies are. And in some cases they were efficiency benefits, and in some cases they were like new types of technology benefits. There were less efficiency, just a different way of doing things. I'd continue down that path and possibly go even further to explain in a person's mind, what does this mean in terms of a unit of gas equals this much money per day, and just thinking about how people think about things, especially in poor areas, I think per day, how much does it cost me per day? So I'd even break it down a little more micro of the savings per day using better efficiency or better technologies. But I thought you guys were doing a great job across the board. This is a fantastic setup. Congratulations.
We've got a good understanding of what the products are, technologies, and how they can be used. So how, in terms of, you said there were technical barriers and financial barriers. One of them is how fast you can get this out to the communities and the villages. And I noticed here, there were goals. This was maybe 2008 or produced last year, but you were 30% or 40% complete on some of them, of the objectives. How can you increase this faster? Is it just more money? Is it more trainers? Is it demand from the villages? What do you think is the biggest issue?
Well, in terms of increasing the number at the local level, the number of technologies, I think there are quite a number of different challenges, starting from ourselves, the capacity to train, the capacity to demonstrate the technologies, but also the capacity of the entrepreneurs we are trying to help to start businesses in marketing the technologies. But also the other challenges from the end users themselves, the affordability. Sometimes we need to arrange credits or to get the access to financing so that they are able to afford the technologies. So the whole thing takes time, but also requires a number of different skills to help people to be able to access the different technologies they are hiring.
Electricity to the population is access to grid power. What is the overall energy strategy for the country, let's say, in 10 years' time? What is the energy vision? How many megawatts do we can produce? With a concern about scale, how much of the country can you drive to using solar or using biogas? And the same technology is what is necessary in the community where there's no electricity. But it must be part of a larger and broader energy strategy. Where are we in terms of nuclear energy as a vision? Where are we in terms of hydropower, or solar there? So that we can power industry using control for you could, but the scale is going to be tough. So how does this fit into the broader national energy strategy for Tanzania?
One thing is, in terms of overall access to energy, it's really 15% of the people that have access to electricity. 2% in rural areas, where more than 75% of the population are living. And in terms of the strategy now, at the moment, the current situation, most of the electricity is coming from hydro, maybe 60%, and thermal, 40%. Hydro meaning the hydro power plant, bigger plants. And we have just over maybe 1,000 megawatts. And that is under capacity, terrible capacity, because the demand is quite high in terms of electricity requirement. So the idea is really to continue now to build up additional power plant, but in ensuring that also we are getting electricity from hydro and also from thermal, in order to sort of minimize the risk, particularly when we have drought. Sometimes we have drought and there is risk. So it's to use hydro, to use the thermal from natural gas, and coal also. There is an effort to develop coal power plants. But all this, it will take many years to have the rest of the rural people accessing electricity from the grid, because this is a bigger country and it's very costly to take the grid everywhere. So the other option is really to see the areas where the grid is not there, it will not be there for some years, 10, 15 years to come, or 20 years, to put up decentralized systems like the one you've seen here. Put them so that people can access electricity or can access modern fuels from these options. So, well, the strategy strategy is definitely to ensure that we have energy security. We are producing our own electricity from different sources to ensure reliability of electricity.
That's what. Can someone explain to us how you come to your efficiency? You say efficiency out there on the walls. Can we get a technical explanation of how the efficiency is calculated? Because we really do this answer. I need a technical explanation of how
efficiency is
how you can do it.
Which will be different for different technologies.
How what the methodology? How it will.
Okay, maybe we have the experts there, Mr. Sabili.
Okay, let me start. I will explain about the purifier stalls and the charcoal stalls. I will start with the purifier stalls. Well,
colleagues here in terms of financing. In other words, how can we help them with their major financing problems? Why is this important? Most of the activities, capacity building, awareness, and new technology requires money. So we realized that number one problem was finance. And how do you finance? The major contribution from our group was to say, let us find a way of getting private money. In other words, private sector contribution, private sector participation in the financing. How are we going to do that? We must flesh out a business model which shows the value proposition to the private sector why they should come in and make money. How do you do that? By studying the value chain from the beginning to the end and identify areas where a private player can come in for a profit and participate and hence bring in finance. So the major contribution from this group is the development of a business model which creates and understands the value proposition to the different private sector players who come in. The second one, which is linked to the first one, is to say, once you do that and have a business model which will lead to sustainability, the donors are even more keen to participate because they know they're going to put their money for the next 10 years. After 10 years, they are no longer involved. So a business model that is independent and that is sustainable will attract even more money from the donors. The second one was to say, why don't we identify why it is difficult to access financing, credits, lines of credit, and so on, regulatory framework. The country, the government can change the regulations, change the laws that makes it difficult for microfinancing to come in, makes it difficult for banks to come in. So we said we must identify all those prohibitive regulatory aspects that have to be changed. We must find ways and means to incentivize the microfinance and the banks to provide capital through incentives and also through penalties, so that access to capital is improved for the entities involved. We also said, look, let's not reinvent the wheel. This is not the first time this work has been done. The technology outside is coming from Vietnam, from India, from China. How are they doing financing over there? So we're encouraging ourselves as young global leaders from China, from India, from North America, to get some global best practice around financing and share with them so they can learn from Vietnam, from India, and from China. Then we said, look, we are young global leaders. We are short callers and ballers. Some of us are entrepreneurs who created Google and Yahoo. Some of us are CEOs and MDs of billion-dollar companies. Why don't we reach deep into our pockets and also become donors and funders? So those with capacity who are young global leaders don't have deep pockets and short arms. You know, the pockets are so deep, there's so much space, but your arms are so short. No, make them longer and deep in there and also share with them. In summary, we are saying this is a very good idea, very good principles, but in the long run, it must become self-sustaining. They must not depend on donors. They must depend on the products, they must depend on the business model. So the key issue is, why don't we help those from the private sector here, help them work out this business model, this business strategy, so that they are self-sustaining. Another summarized view is that we can't have this in isolation. What is the energy strategy for Tanzania? What is the energy vision for Tanzania? Where are we in terms of hydropower, thermal power, nuclear power? So this becomes a component of a broader national energy strategy. And also, you know, you can't have an economy driven by charcoal energy or driven by jatropha These are good mitigation measures to alleviate poverty, stopgap measures, but the big picture must be about hydro, about nuclear power in Tanzania. Thank you very much.
So this is a wonderful beginning to energy conservation and sustainability in business in Tanzania. And taking Arthur's point one step further beyond even what's here is certainly there are other communities struggling with this across Latin America and Africa. Isn't there maybe some global company or global body that can look and compare case studies and patterns and models? Even there's certainly the Tanzania energy plan, but also what are the other case studies around the world that must be struggling with the same issues, and how can we bring some of that information to light and compare? But the four main areas that we agreed could use more work to help really expand and replicate what's currently in the works is communications. The awareness of benefits could be expanded much more greatly. For example, a cell phone company, we know that sometimes cell phone companies donate time that they can't sell to different causes, whether it's AIDS and going to a clinic or other things, but this is a very, could be a very interesting model to spread communications using a cell phone company in Tanzania about the benefits of this business. Government, maybe tapping into the safety or education arms of government and really getting them involved in a much bigger way. NGO partners, for example, are obviously another partnership, but also the current entrepreneurs that have already taken on this, this new plan and having them be advocates to other people. That's the communication section. For financing, we agree that there needs to be some sort of donor body or philanthropy or corporate partner. There's the corporate partners that relate to the business, could actually expand it, like an energy business, like an Alcoa or a Shell. But there's also a donor to any of the corporate foundations that might want to take this on as a philanthropic model. And then somebody had a great idea of even having the cell charger stations of each of the electric energy units be sponsored by the cell phone company. So these are all ideas for financing. In research, what technologies could be made more efficient, so therefore lower the costs? And on partnerships, obviously there could be corporate government, philanthropic, NGOs, or even the UN funding business development. And mostly there needs to be maybe a bigger business plan to gauge interest in this whole area in order to make maybe your short-term and long-term life a little easier so that you can find that angel investor or what's going to make you go beyond the tipping point, and so the struggles aren't quite so big right now. And then Roy realized that this is actually the symbol for atomic energy in the middle of these men. So these are the four main components that obviously overlap that we think would be important as you think going forward. And I'm showing us some stuff. Anyone have anything to add from our group? That's it. We're done.